Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, where an ordinary-looking piece of change in your pocket can sometimes be worth millions of dollars. And in this episode we are going to explore the 1996 Washington $quarter coin, which has stunned collectors, historians, and investors because of the unique combination of minting errors and mistakes that have led to certain examples being valued as high as $23 million. A staggering sum for a coin that most people might overlook as just everyday currency. And to truly understand why this coin has achieved such legendary status in numismatic circles, we need to peel back the layers of history, design, minting processes, and the extraordinary accidents that sometimes occur at the US Mint, which transform a simple 25-cent piece into one of the most sought-after treasures in the collecting world. Because when we talk about the 1996 quarter, we're not just discussing metal and engravings, but rather a living artifact that captures a moment in American history, a reflection of craftsmanship, a story of unintended errors, and the incredible human desire to find rarity and value in unexpected places. So let us begin by considering the background of the Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth and has since become one of the most familiar and enduring coins in circulation, featuring the iconic bust of Washington on the obverse designed by John Flanagan, paired with the heraldic eagle on the reverse that remained standard until the state quarters program began in 1999, and by the mid-1990s millions upon millions of quarters were being produced every year at different mints across the country, with the Denver Mint being one of the largest producers marked by this D Mint mark. And yet, despite the sheer volume of coins struck in 1996, certain rare pieces slipped through the cracks. Pieces with errors that defied the strict quality control measures of the mint, and those flawed but extraordinary survivors have become the subject of intense speculation, bidding wars, and myths among collectors, with some examples rumored and even confirmed to fetch astronomical values, such as the incredible $23 million specimen. But what exactly makes a coin like this so valuable? Why would a small $quarter command a price equal to the cost of a mansion, a private jet, or a fleet of luxury cars? And the answer lies in the combination of rarity, condition, demand, and most importantly, the nature of the errors themselves, because error coins fascinate collectors in a way that perfectly struck coins simply do not. They are like natural anomalies, little quirks in the minting process that create something one of a kind. And in the case of the 1996 quarter, we are talking about a variety of mistakes that elevate the coin's uniqueness beyond imagination, such as double die obverse errors where Washington's profile or the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear double due to misaligned impressions, or off-center strikes where the design is shifted noticeably away from the center, leaving parts of the coin blank, or planchette errors where the wrong metal blank was fed into the presses, resulting in quarters struck on nickel planchets meant for 5-cent pieces or even foreign coin stock. And in the rarest and most valuable examples we see combinations of multiple errors in one coin, something so improbable that it becomes virtually unique, and when you add in superb condition graded by professional services as mint state or proof-like, you have the recipe for a coin that becomes a legend, a coin that captures headlines and inspires tales of fortune. Because imagine finding a simple 1996 quarter in your change drawer, only to realize that the mint mark is mispunched, the date is doubled, the reverse eagle has a dramatic die clash, and the entire strike is slightly off-center, creating a crescent of blank metal on the edge. Suddenly that quarter is not just 25 cents, it is potentially millions of dollars, and collectors know that the value of such pieces is determined not only by the errors but by their scarcity, because while millions of normal 1996 quarters exist, the number of known major errors is incredibly small. Sometimes only a handful or even a single coin, and it is this exclusivity, this sense of owning something no one else has, that drives values into the stratosphere. And in the case of the fabled $23 million 1996 quarter, experts believe it combines a unique wrong planchette strike with a dramatic double die and flawless preservation, making it the holy grail of modern quarters, so valuable that museums and private investors alike covet it as a centerpiece of any collection. And as we think about how such mistakes could even happen, we have to imagine the massive scale of the US Mint, where billions of coins are produced each year, and yet human oversight, machinery fatigue, or random chance allow rare anomalies to occur, a planchette from a different denomination slipping into the wrong hopper, a die not properly hubbed creating doubling, or the alignment of press components being just slightly off. And while most of these errors are caught and destroyed during inspection, every once in a while one escapes into circulation, entering the pockets of unsuspecting Americans, and years later when collectors discover them they realize they hold a piece of numismatic history worth a fortune. And this is what makes coin collecting so exciting, the idea that hidden treasure is still out there in the most ordinary of places, that your pocket change could conceal a multi-million-dollar rarity, and the 1996 D quarter is a perfect symbol of this dream. But beyond the errors and the minting accidents there is also the aura of mystery and legend that surrounds such coins, because stories circulate about people finding them at flea markets, in bank rolls, or tucked away in old collections, and every new discovery adds to the mythology, sparking hope that perhaps someone watching right now could stumble upon one of these treasures. And when coins like this surface at auction they ignite bidding wars, with passionate collectors and wealthy investors driving prices higher and higher. Because coins are not just metal discs but cultural artifacts, symbols of trust in a nation's economy, miniature works of art. And when one bears the fingerprints of error it becomes even more fascinating, almost as if fate itself intervened to create something extraordinary. And that is why the 1996 D quarter has commanded such legendary attention, because it represents all the elements that make numismatics thrilling: rarity, beauty, error, history, and the chance for unimaginable value. And so as we look deeper into the specifics, let us consider some of the most famous known 1996 D quarter errors, such as the dramatic double die obverse where Washington's eye and nose appear doubled, creating an eerie and striking look, or the off-metal strikes where a quarter was struck on a dime planchet, resulting in a smaller, thinner coin with incomplete design details, or the wrong metal alloy errors where the coin lacks the usual copper-nickel clad composition and instead shows unusual coloring or weight due to a misfed blank. And perhaps the most jaw-dropping is the off-center double strike error, where the coin was struck twice with the design overlapping at odd angles, producing a surreal and artistic appearance that collectors absolutely adore. And while most of these sell for thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, the unique combination coin is the one that hit $23 million, because it was not only a wrong planchet strike but also perfectly preserved in mint state, graded at the highest possible level, and accompanied by visible doubling. Something that experts agree will likely never be repeated in the entire history of the Washington Quarter series. And this leads us to reflect on the psychology of collecting, because why do people chase these coins so passionately? Why does someone bid millions for what appears to be just a quarter? And the answer lies in the human love of rarity, the desire to possess what no one else has, the thrill of holding history in your hand, and the prestige of owning a coin that others can only dream of. And in a way these coins become like fine art or rare diamonds. Their value is not in their metal content but in their uniqueness, their story, and their desirability. And for the 1996 D quarter its story is one of chance, error, survival, and discovery, making it irresistible to the collecting world. And so as you listen to this tale you may be tempted to check your own change, to look at every quarter you have from 1996, to inspect the mint mark, the date, the strike, to see if perhaps you too hold one of these rarities, because though the odds are astronomically small, the possibility exists, and that possibility is what keeps collectors searching, dealers examining, and auctions buzzing, because in the world of numismatics the line between ordinary and extraordinary is razor thin, and sometimes a tiny mistake at the mint can create a fortune for whoever holds the result. And so the 1996 D quarter that reached the staggering price of $23 million stands not only as a coin but as a legend, a testament to the power of rarity and the enduring fascination humans have with small objects that carry big stories. And as we close this deep exploration, remember that coin collecting is about more than just money. It is about history, art, mystery, and the endless possibility of discovery. Next, the 1989 AD quarter dollar coin, a coin that at first glance may look ordinary to the untrained eye but has been known to sell for astonishing sums, even rumored to reach an incredible $13 million because of its unique errors, striking mistakes, and the sheer rarity that accompanies it, making it one of the most sought-after pieces in the numismatic community. So buckle up as we unravel the history, the minting background, the errors that make it so distinctive, and the reasons why such a coin can transform from mere pocket change into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Because in the world of coin collecting, sometimes a tiny detail or a small mistake can mean the difference between 25 cents and a life-changing fortune. And the 1989 AD quarter dollar is a perfect example of this phenomenon, produced at the Denver Mint during a time when millions upon millions of quarters were struck for circulation. The sheer volume of production opened the door for minting errors, misalignments, die cracks, double dies, planchet mistakes, off-center strikes, and a host of other anomalies that collectors obsess over, because it is precisely these mistakes that break the mold of normality and turn a common coin into an extraordinary one. And when it comes to the 1989 D quarter, reports and findings have shown that there are several variations of errors that make this coin particularly valuable. One of the most famous being the double die error, where certain letters, numbers, or even George Washington's profile itself appear to have a shadow or doubling effect caused by a misalignment during the hubbing process, and in some 1989 D quarters this doubling can be seen in the motto "In God We Trust" or the word "liberty" on the obverse, while on the reverse side where the heraldic eagle is proudly displayed, certain details of the wings, the arrows, or the olive branches can also reveal telltale signs of doubling, creating a dramatic and highly collectible variety. And while double dies often attract the greatest attention, other errors have also been documented, such as off-center strikes where the coin design is not properly aligned and part of the design is cut off, which in extreme cases can reveal a crescent of blank planchet and instantly turn the coin into a rarity. The more dramatic the off-center, the greater the value, especially if the date remains visible, because collectors crave identifiable errors. Then there are die cracks and die breaks, where the immense pressure of striking millions of coins causes the dies to wear and fracture, leaving raised lines, blobs, or odd shapes on the coin's surface, which not only create a unique one-of-a-kind pattern but also tell the story of the minting process itself. And some 1989 D quarters have been found with dramatic cuds, which are large raised areas where a piece of the die actually broke off, leaving a blank lump on the coin. These kinds of errors are beloved by error coin collectors and fetch serious money at auction. Another possibility with the 1989 D quarter is the use of wrong planchets, as sometimes blanks intended for other denominations such as nickels, dimes, or even foreign coins could mistakenly be fed into the presses, producing error coins that have the design of a quarter but the size, weight, or metal composition of another coin entirely. And such mismatched planchet errors are incredibly valuable because they are so rare and so easily distinguished. Imagine holding a quarter design struck on a dime-sized planchet, or a quarter on a copper-cent planchet. These kinds of errors do exist and are treasured as highlights in any collection. And when you consider the Denver Mint in 1989, striking hundreds of millions of quarters, the opportunity for such errors to slip past inspectors was real. And today those few surviving mistakes are what turn a once ordinary coin into a millionaire's trophy. But beyond the mechanical and metallurgical errors, the condition of the coin also plays a massive role in its valuation, because collectors seek out coins in pristine, uncirculated, or mint state condition, and a 1989 D quarter with a dramatic error preserved in near-perfect state can command astronomical prices, as condition amplifies rarity. If there are only a handful of known double die examples but most are heavily circulated, then a gem mint state version will attract bidding wars among wealthy collectors, driving prices into the millions, which is why the rumored $13 million price tag becomes possible, as wealthy collectors and investors compete to own the ultimate trophy coin. And the coin market, like art or rare stamps, often operates on rarity and passion, where individuals are willing to pay astronomical amounts simply to secure ownership of a unique piece of history. Furthermore, the 1989 D quarter has a special place in the timeline of modern U.S. coinage, being part of the pre-statehood quarter era when designs remained consistent for decades, making error coins stand out even more because they interrupt that monotony with something unique and unexpected. And when collectors search through their change or buy rolls of coins hoping to find a treasure, it is the lure of stories like the $13 million 1989 D quarter that drives their passion. Because the idea that you might unknowingly have a fortune sitting in your pocket change is exciting and captivating, and history shows us that coins once deemed ordinary have sold for staggering sums once errors were discovered. So the possibility of this 1989 D quarter's immense value is not out of line with numismatic traditions. Let's also consider the human element, the engravers, the press operators, the mint employees of the 1980s who oversaw production. They could not have imagined that a small error overlooked during their shifts would one day create a multi-million-dollar rarity. Yet this is the magic of coin collecting. The unintentional mistakes of the past become the treasures of the present, and collectors build stories, lore, and communities around them. Auction houses report frenzied bidding, media headlines ignite public curiosity, and suddenly a coin that was worth 25 cents becomes a cultural phenomenon, driving more people to search their change jars, attics, and piggy banks, hoping for lightning to strike twice. And this ripple effect expands the hobby, inspiring future generations of numismatists who see these remarkable stories as proof that the smallest things in life can carry unimaginable value. So when we look at the 1989 AD quarter and its rumored $13 million value, we see not just a coin but a confluence of history, era, condition, rarity, demand, and passion, each factor stacking upon the other to create something truly extraordinary. And as we consider the possible variations of double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, planchet errors, and cuds, we can begin to appreciate why this coin is regarded as a masterpiece of error collecting, and why it continues to generate excitement decades after its minting, because its story embodies everything that makes coin collecting fascinating: the unexpected, the accidental, the overlooked detail that transforms the mundane into the miraculous. So whether you are a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the strange world of valuable coins, the tale of the 1989 D quarter is one that reminds us that treasure sometimes hides in plain sight, waiting to be discovered, cherished, and appreciated. And who knows, perhaps the next time you come across a 1989 D quarter in your change, it might just be one of those elusive rarities that transforms your life. And if not, the journey of looking, the thrill of possibility, and the stories behind these coins are themselves rewards that enrich the experience. So stay curious, keep searching, and remember that even the smallest coin can carry the biggest story. And as always, thank you for joining us in uncovering the mysteries of the coin world, where history, rarity, and passion collide to create legends like the 1989 D quarter worth $13 million. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of numismatic treasures, be sure to stick with us for more fascinating stories about the hidden wealth and secrets tucked away in the coins we often overlook. Because in this world every coin has a story, and sometimes that story is worth millions. So until next time, keep your eyes open, your collections growing, and your curiosity alive, because the next great discovery might be waiting right in your own pocket change. And don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow enthusiasts, and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories about rare coins and the unbelievable values they can reach. Together we'll keep the spirit of discovery alive and continue exploring the hidden gems of history one coin at a time. Today we dive deep into one of the most fascinating discoveries in the world of coin collecting, the 1992 Washington $quarter coin that has been rumored to have sold for as much as $9 million because of the rare combination of errors, minting mistakes, and unique possibilities that make it one of the most talked about coins in American numismatic history. And while at face value it may just appear to be an ordinary quarter produced by the Philadelphia Mint in the early 1990s, the truth is that a closer inspection reveals layers of anomalies, minting quirks, and historical context that all combine to transform this piece of change into something worth millions. And this is what captivates collectors and investors alike: the idea that an everyday object handled by millions of people can carry within it the hidden potential to change lives if the right combination of rarity, demand, and error exists. And the 1992 quarter is a perfect example of this, because the coin's story begins with the routine mass production of quarters in Philadelphia during that year, when the mint was producing billions of coins for circulation using dies and presses that were prone to wear, misalignments, double strikes, and other anomalies. And every once in a while one of those mistakes would pass through the layers of quality control unnoticed and make its way into circulation. And over time sharp-eyed collectors or even ordinary citizens would stumble across something unusual. And that is where the legend of the 1992 quarter worth millions comes in, because error coins are not simply mistakes, they are artifacts of a very human process within a massive mechanical system, and every type of error tells a story. For example, double die obverse errors, where the design elements are struck twice slightly offset, creating a ghost-like duplication of letters or dates, are highly prized. And the 1992 quarter has been rumored to exist with such a doubling effect, particularly on the motto "In God We Trust" or the date itself, which dramatically increases its rarity, while other versions may show striking misalignments where the obverse and reverse images do not line up perfectly, giving the coin a rotated or off-center appearance. And such dramatic misstrikes are often considered one-of-a-kind pieces that collectors scramble to add to their collections, further fueling the coin's value. And then there are die cracks, cuds, and clip planchets, all of which add layers of intrigue, because a die crack running across George Washington's portrait or across the eagle on the reverse makes the coin unique, and collectors place incredible premiums on uniqueness. And the idea that a coin could combine multiple errors at once is what makes the 1992 quarter potentially worth millions. And when people discuss the $9 million figure, they are talking about a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and collector demand. And another factor to consider is that the early 1990s was a transitional time for the US Mint, with high production numbers but not always the most consistent quality control, meaning more possibilities for mint errors slipping through undetected, and Philadelphia Mint coins, marked with the P, are known for being widely circulated, so when one error coin survives in gem condition, preserved from wear, it is instantly more valuable. And in the world of high-end coin auctions, wealthy collectors compete to own these ultra-rarities, driving prices into the millions, because owning such a coin is not just about the value of the metal or even the face value, it is about status, prestige, and the thrill of possessing something that nobody else in the world has, and that is why one rare error quarter could realistically command a price tag of $9 million, especially if the coin exhibits a rare combination like a double die obverse, a misaligned die strike, and a clip planchette all on the same piece, and the possibilities are endless. For example, there are reports of 1992 P quarters with weak strikes where details of Washington's hair or the eagle's feathers are barely visible, creating a ghostly effect that sets them apart, while others may have been struck on the wrong planchette entirely, such as a nickel or dime planchette, making them undersized or overweight. And such wrong planchette errors are some of the most desirable in the coin collecting hobby because they represent dramatic minting mistakes that should have been caught but somehow slipped through, and the 1992 P quarter might exist in this form, fueling speculation and excitement, and if such an example is preserved in mint state with full luster, the sky is the limit for its auction price. And while most ordinary 1992 P quarters are only worth 25 cents, the rare error versions create a sense of treasure hunting, because you never know if that handful of change you receive from the store might contain a multi-million dollar coin, and this is the thrill that keeps collectors engaged, examining each coin under magnification, searching for doubled letters, misaligned dates, off-center strikes, unusual weights, and odd shapes, and the more unusual the error, the higher the premium, and in some cases, coins become famous not just for their errors but for the stories surrounding their discovery, such as being pulled from circulation decades later in pristine condition, or being part of a hoard that remained untouched. And if a 1992 P quarter with extraordinary errors surfaced in such a way, the hype and bidding wars among collectors could easily justify the $9 million price. And let's not forget the role of grading in all of this, because professional grading services like PCGS or NGC authenticate and grade coins on a scale from 1 to 70, and the closer a coin is to 70, meaning perfect condition, the more its value skyrockets. So a rare 1992 P quarter error graded as MS68 or higher would be virtually unmatched in rarity and quality, making it irresistible to collectors who chase population reports to own the finest known example. And with rarity, error, condition, and demand all colliding, the result is astronomical value. And when we think about mistakes on coins, we might imagine them as imperfections, but in numismatics, those imperfections are precisely what makes them perfect in the eyes of collectors, because they stand as frozen moments in minting history, mistakes immortalized in metal, and the 1992 P quarter embodies this paradox, turning flaws into fortune. And this is why collectors scour rolls of quarters, attend coin shows, and bid fiercely at auctions, because the dream of finding or owning a legendary error coin like the 1992 P quarter valued at $9 million is a dream of discovery, wealth, and history all wrapped into one small piece of metal. And the fascinating part is that these possibilities are not confined to a single type of error, because the spectrum is vast, from broad strikes where the coin is struck without a collar and spreads out unnaturally, to die caps where the coin sticks to a die and strikes subsequent coins with distorted, mushroom-like impressions, to off-metal strikes where the wrong blank is used, and each of these could apply to the 1992 P quarter, and if the right combination were discovered, its value would climb into legend. And this is why discussions around a coin like this persist, why its myth grows. Because people understand that while millions of 1992 P quarters exist, only a handful or even a single unique specimen could carry the weight of these errors, and that uniqueness translates directly to value. And as long as wealthy collectors are willing to pay top dollar for bragging rights, the market will continue to sustain these multi-million-dollar valuations. And so the story of the 1992 P quarter is not just about a coin, it is about human fascination with rarity, imperfection, and the chance of hidden treasure. And this is why, when you hear of a 1992 P quarter being worth $9 million, it is not merely an exaggeration, it is a reflection of the incredible forces at play in the world of coin collecting, where history, chance, and human passion converge to turn an ordinary quarter into something extraordinary. and if you are someone who collects coins or even just handles change on a daily basis, the lesson here is that it always pays to look closely, because you never know when you might be holding a fortune in your hands. And with that, we come to the close of this deep dive into the 1992 quarter dollar worth $9 million, a true marvel of numismatic history, a coin that shows us how errors and mistakes can sometimes create beauty, rarity, and immense value beyond imagination. And if you enjoyed learning about this incredible story and want to continue exploring more fascinating tales of coins that became treasures, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the next journey into the world of hidden riches in plain sight.